Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active, even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued, like we talked about prior to.
Sean Diddy Combs was denied bail for the third time. A federal judge saying that the government had proven by clear and convincing evidence that there were no conditions of release that would ensure the safety of the community.
The renowned music icon and now controversial defendant Shad Diddy is at the center of an unprecedented legal storm that doesn't seem to be abating. His third unsuccessful attempt to secure bail has only increased the scrutiny surrounding his case, leaving many wondering how one of the most influential people in entertainment ended up facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. The accusations are shocking, the evidence is growing, and the stakes are higher than ever, but what's really captivating is the relentless avalanche of new lawsuits, accusations, and evidence that seem to surface every day.
Sean Combs get another shot with Judge Subramanian? Or what will be his likelihood of success in a different court? Because there's currently a pending appeal at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. So to get into all of this, I want to bring on former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, friend of the show. Nima, thanks so much for coming on. First, before we even get into what he can do next, were you surprised?
Judge Arun Supernaman has dealt a serious blow to Diddy's defense team by refusing him bail for the third time. The judge determined that no conditions could guarantee community safety, even when a $50 million bond was proposed for a luxury residence that had severe visitor limitations, round-the-clock private protection, and imprisonment. Among the most important pieces of evidence were security footage from 2016 that purportedly showed Diddy abusing Cassie Ventura and eerie text conversations in which Cassie detailed her injuries. The judge's decision to put Diddy in jail was based on this habit of violent behavior.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
However, it doesn't end there. Prosecutors claim that Diddy has been using three-way calls, illegal messaging services, and even other prisoners' phone accounts to contact important people involved in the case. How dare he sit in a federal detention center under investigation for obstruction and still find ways to circumvent the rules? Prosecutors said that Diddy's audacity shows that he is a danger to the community, and a flight risk judge agreed, noting in his ruling that Diddy's actions from his jail cell are strong evidence that he would pose an even greater risk if made available.
If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says, that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't expect.
And then there's the trust, or lack thereof, issue. The judge also criticized Diddy's legal team, accusing them of lying to the court about things like Diddy's jail cell's legal pads being incorrectly labeled when they weren't. This may seem like a small detail, but in the high-stakes world of federal litigation, credibility is crucial. Manon publicly expressed doubt that Diddy's lawyers would uphold the stringent terms of his suggested bail package. This doubt, along with Diddy's claimed history of breaking the law, made the judge's decision to deny bail obvious.
Yeah, they probably didn't see these notes, and they never will.
But if you're Diddy, don't you want your notes back?
Yeah.
Like, if you've spent so many hours gathering evidence for your side, or strategy or whatever, for me, I'd be like, oh no, please don't destroy, please return.
Let's now discuss the overwhelming number of fresh accusations that have surfaced following Diddy's arrest. It seems as though his legal issues have caused a chain reaction, with accuser after accuser coming forward to tell their tales. The time frame is making it dizzy. Everything started in November 2023 when Cassie filed her shocking lawsuit alleging Diddy had mistreated her emotionally, physically, and psychologically for years. The lawsuit was startling enough on its own, but what came next was nothing short of a tidal wave. Within weeks, several women filed similar claims, each more horrific than the last.
I'm not surprised with the decision. I'm surprised that Judge Subramanian entertained it. He held a 2-hour hearing, which we were covering live, and he issued a 5-page written order. Most other judges, including the 2 previous judges, to consider this issue summarily denied the bail motion. I think a lot of it stems from Judge Subramanian being a newer judge. This is a Biden appointee.
In one particularly unsettling instance, a woman named Jane Doe claims she was tricked into going on a trip with Diddy and his friends under false pretenses. According to her lawsuit, she endured horrifying experiences, such as being stranded in strange places and being put in situations that made her feel helpless. And another accuser, Liza Gardner, said she first met Dottie at an industry party in the early 1990s when she was just a teenager. According to her lawsuit, he took advantage of her while she was intoxicated, leaving her traumatized for decades.
Did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, engaging and voluntarily engaging in this conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol, things of that nature.
This case is similar to the more general accusations made against Sean Combs, according to the prosecution, who allegedly fostered an atmosphere of manipulation and control. Questions concerning the impact of privilege and power are raised by the father-son similarities. Does Christian follow in his father's footsteps, or is he affected by Sean's legal troubles? Christian's case is already garnering media attention, drawing attention to a concerning trend in the entertainment sector, a system that has long permitted influential people to behave without facing repercussions.
Another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for.
Diddy's case is further complicated by the fact that he was held at the infamous Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, which has been called Hell on Earth. His former opulent lifestyle is in stark contrast to the overcrowded, understaffed prison beset by misconduct charges. His attorneys contend that the appalling circumstances make it difficult for him to prepare for his trial, pointing to restricted access to court records and necessities. Despite noting the challenges of preparing for trial while incarcerated, Judge Subban denied their plea for bail, concluding that Diddy's actions warranted his extended arrest.
Everybody familiar with the old Houdini? So what Diddy's lawyers are trying to do is pull a Houdini. They're trying to say that the evidence that they have is different. Well, it's not different. The video that the entire world has seen is not going to go away. The fact that he had parties that were freak-offs is not going away. So it's just a question of whether or not
Diddy's previous life of luxury is in sharp contrast to what he encounters within the MDC. His presence has sparked reactions among convicts and staff. Some regard him as a target, while others see him as accountable. He is currently confined to a small cell and placed in a separate housing unit for safety. Concerns have been expressed over the MDC's capacity to safely house well-known inmates, given its reputation for brutality and harsh conditions. Diddy's legal team has expressed concerns about his health, but they haven't been successful. He is still incarcerated pending his trial in May 2025.
So there's a few things going on. First is the privilege issue. The judge will decide whether the documents are privileged or not. If they're not, they're going to go to the government. If the documents are not only not privileged, but they're evidence of witness tampering, then a few things can happen, all of which are bad for Sean Diddy Combs. First, of course, it faced obstruction of justice charges in a superseding indictment.
In little than a year, Diddy has gone from being a cultural hero to becoming one of the most closely watched individuals. A trial that may define contemporary history is being sparked by lawsuits, criminal charges, and leaked evidence. The more significant question is still why it took so long for the truth to come to light if the accusations are accurate. As the story progresses, focus shifts to the accusations made against his son Christian Combs, as well as the privileged and powerful culture in the entertainment sector. This is not the end of the narrative.
And the risk of flight was always going to be a tough argument for the government because obviously Combs voluntarily came to New York. He surrendered his passports to his lawyer. He could have fled after the March raids of his Miami and Los Angeles homes, but he didn't. He has access to 2 private jets. I think it was a tougher argument. I know the government made the argument, but clearly the best argument was the dangerousness and the witness tampering. They had much more evidence.
As if the controversy surrounding Shad Diddy Communications couldn't get any more intense, his son Christian Communications has now been pulled into the fray with shocking and unsettling accusations. The accusations against Christian, which were revealed in a recent lawsuit, have shocked the public and sparked unsettling concerns about the atmosphere surrounding the Communications family. How does this fit into the larger narrative of power privilege and alleged misconduct that seems to have gripped the entertainment industry? Let's get into the specifics. Is this a case of a young guy carrying on his father's legacy, or is it something darker?
Separated from the general population, right? He's with, or was with Sam Bankman-Fried at least, and the irony there is that someone who was granted bail tried to tamper with witnesses, so the judge revoked his bail. So that just goes to show how these federal judges feel about witness tampering before trial.
Christian Combs is accused of acting improperly and forcefully in a December 2022 yacht incident, according to former crew member Grace Mark. Mark claims that Christian tried to corner her, made her uncomfortable, and forced her to drink. She claims to have audio proof, such as one incident in which she asked Christian if a drink had been tampered with, to which he allegedly answered, "Take the shot." Mark portrays the yacht as a party place where professionalism was muddled, stating that it is by no means family-friendly. She claims that once she complained to the boat captain, he was incredulous and retaliated, which resulted to her termination in May 2023. Christian refutes the charges, claiming they are untrue, and the lawsuit also accuses Scene Combs of encouraging such behavior by creating an unsuitable atmosphere. Concerning issues of influence and responsibility within the family are brought up by this case.